Wonderful. I see folks entering the call. So good afternoon. My name is Cynthia Saavedra, and I'm a member of the University Relations team here at CSULB. I want to officially welcome everyone and thank you for joining us as we continue to celebrate Founders Week. Before we get started, a few quick reminders. First, this panel event is being recorded and will be uploaded to our website. We'll be sure to share that website at the end of the panel, so you can go ahead and visit our website after our live event. Also, as a reminder for our audience, you're able to submit questions for the panel using the Q&A option, which is at the bottom left corner of your screen. So this week, CSULB turned 71, and to honor that special milestone, we are recognizing many of our distinguished alumni and their impact. Today's Executive Leaders panel will be moderated by alumna Kimberly Farrell, who earned her degree at the Beach in business marketing. Kimberly is CEO of Unlimited Performance Training, Inc., a leader in life science and leadership corporate training. Kimberly is an author, a teacher, a trainer, and mentor, and serves on the CSULB Alumni Council. Thank you in advance for our moderator, and of course, our entire alumni panel. Kimberly, I'll pass things off to you.
Yeah, that was lovely. Wonderful. Well, welcome everybody. This is an exciting week, Founders Week. And as Cynthia mentioned, we have 3 very distinguished alumni, and I am thrilled that you've each taken time with your busy schedule to take time with us today and share with all of our alumni and some current students everything that you've been able to accomplish, and we'll try to get it all in 45 minutes. But we will, of course, share 15 minutes at the end. So I want to alert everybody who's listening. There's, of course, a Q&A box, and we will save the Q&A for the end so that we get a chance to really get to know each of the panelists. But go ahead and start fielding your questions as we go, and then I know we'll get to those at the end. But first and foremost, what I'd like to do is take a few minutes to have each of our distinguished panelists introduce themselves. And I would like you to introduce a bit about your business background, kind of the brief trajectory that you've all had in your distinguished careers. And then I would like you to share a bit about your educational background. And last but most important is your experience with Cal State University Long Beach and kind of what that has done and how it has added to your career. So if we could please, Dawn, I would love to start with you. Just give us a little bit about your amazing career trajectory and how it's brought you now to the wooden floor, and then a couple of key points on what's happening now for the wooden floor. I know good things are happening.
Great, thank you, Kimberly. Great to be with everyone. Hi, my name is Dawn Reese. I'm the Chief Executive Officer of the Wooden Floor. I've spent the past 35 years of my career coming out of Cal State Long Beach in 1986. I was a psychology major. My goal was to become a teacher and a principal, but I had the incredible opportunity to become, my first position was in management consulting in the high-tech industry. And I spent my first half of my career in high tech and built a really long business career. And right about the midway point, I decided to pivot and go into bring my business skills into the nonprofit sector and bring strategy, marketing, business development, and my passion for arts, children, and education that I had in my volunteerism that I had as a young person right out of college. And as serendipity would have it, I was led to the Wooden Floor about 12 years ago, which is a creative youth development organization that annually provides 475 young people with the opportunity to have a dance education program that is combined with academics, college career readiness, and social services. And since 2005, 100% of our students have graduated on time from high school and immediately enrolled in higher education. And so it's brought my passions and purpose together. And we now have 2 locations in Santa Ana, which we just opened in the last 2 years, and we're scaling our model now nationally. So I'm very proud of my career over the last 35 years almost. And so what I say is that it started out in wanting to be a teacher and a principal, And today I am a teacher and a principal for the 475 children that I get to see each and every day and work with their parents. So while I took a detour through business, it served me right because I believe I'm mission driven and business minded in how I lead our business strategies for the wooden floor. But I lead with purpose, and that's my passion I have in life.
That sounds wonderful. Thank you so much for that great introduction, Dawn. It's so great to have you here. Dawn Reese with the wooden floor. Nelson Farris would love to hear more about you and your business trajectory. You've been with Nike an amazing number of years. I understand you're the most senior and tenured employee probably in the history of the company. So let's toss the ball to you and have you share your background with all of us.
First of all, thank to all of you talented people that are on this thing with me. I have no skills, and I want to make that clear. I was born and raised. I was born and raised in Long Beach. I went to Millikan High School right down the road, and Long Beach State. And I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. I really had no focus. I came from kind of a fractured home. My dad was a career Navy guy. And when he got out of the Navy, he couldn't function. And so to me, the whole idea of retirement, no, what do you do for the rest of your life was sort of my mindset, which is why I've been here so long, but this is what I love, right? But so I came in as kind of a undisciplined, but high energy guy. And I started in 1961. I got my degree in 1969, so there were some interruptions along the way, but I stuck with it. But I went to college. I was going to be a high school biology teacher. I signed up for courses. That didn't work at all because there was like 20 units of lab, and I had a job. I couldn't do them, so I changed my major to business, and I changed it again. I finally got a degree in liberal arts because, again, I didn't know what I wanted to do, so I did everything right. Mm-hmm. And I got married. Got drafted, joined the Marine Corps Reserves and spent 6 years in the Marine Reserves, and came out of that and started a shoe store with my friend who was Ted Banks, who was a track coach at Long Beach State. Oh. And Ted comes to me and he goes, "There's a brand new company up there called Nike," and he said, "We should sell those shoes." I was a geek runner. I knew who they were. I wore the other shoes they made, which were called Tigers. I said, "Good idea." So that was our business plan. So we shook hands. We invested $2,500. We opened up a store. It was a total disaster. But life is serendipitous, right? Ted gets the head track job at Texas El Paso. I call up the Nike office and say, "My business partner is moving to Texas. I can't do this by myself. Do you need anybody down here?"
That was smart.
I'm serious. They flew me up. They interviewed me and they hired me. And because I had retail experience, a failed one-year job at running my own store. And I worked out of my house for the first 5 years, from 1973 to 1978. Was working out of my house. My wife was my manager because she did everything. I just ran around like I was supposed to. And then in 1978, I moved to Oregon. And then from 78 till now, I probably had 15, 20 different jobs, moved 5 times, lived in Europe, opened up offices over in Europe for them. And I think because I didn't have any specific, I'm being serious when I say I didn't have any specific business acumen or, like Kirk and his 100-year-old company, which, by the way, congratulations. But I was a good street guy. So they found that.
What does that mean, Nelson? Good street guy.
That means they can send me anywhere and I can make friends.
Yeah.
And I went everywhere and anywhere. And it was not difficult. And A, I wasn't afraid. B, I always ate whatever the food was. Never complained. Occasionally drank some of the local stuff, which is dangerous. But the point was that risky, courageous behavior was really what I decided that's who I am. And it helped me help be a part of this company.
That's great. Well, thank you. Thank you very much.
Sure.
Karl, it's Kreutziger. Did I say that correctly?
Close, Kreutziger.
Kreutziger. Okay, thank you. So it is great to have you, Nelson, and Dawn and Karl. Would love to hear a little bit about your background and your story and all that you've done to get you to a place where you're running CW Driver. I mean, this is amazing. You're at the top of the food chain, right?
Well, it's not just me, it's a lot of important people in our organization, obviously, but my journey started in the early 80s, actually attending Cal Poly San Luis Obispo on a football scholarship and going up there and leaving my high school sweetheart behind. Fast forward 3.5 years later, it was time for me to return to Southern California. And that's when I had my first experience at the beach. And like Nelson, I had an interruption for many years, but what it did, it allowed me to get into the construction department and then work with some very reputable construction engineering firms in the late 80s and the early 90s. And I found myself starting just like maybe the rest of the people in watching this, doing very simple things and learning about the trade. And I went through estimating and scheduling and project management. And, you know, I had good tenure at these companies, but was always looking to start kind of my own thing in a way. And what had happened 10 years ago, I was introduced to CW Driver, at that time a 90-year-old company that wanted to start a brand new business unit. And I had been working in Long Beach at a local company, and they wanted to start a business unit that focused on corporate interiors, tenant improvements, smaller projects that they could not be competitive in. And so I came over here 10 years ago, started Driver Special Projects Group, and basically over the next 5 years created a very successful business unit, of which 5 years ago I was asked to take over the larger company of CW Driver. And over that 5 years, really focused on the vision moving over the next 100 years of what the company wanted to look like, really focused on the culture of the organization and where we were heading. And that's where I find myself today, last year celebrating our 100th birthday, looking into the next century of our company.
That's amazing, your 100th birthday. Well, welcome, Karl. These are just amazing stories. I'm hearing a lot of resilience and pivoting and adaptation. So I have a few questions that I want to kind of kick off here. First off, Dawn, I wanted to just kind of follow up with you a little bit. You said that 100% of these students, I believe you mentioned about 475 students, that 100% move on to higher education. Why do you think that happens? What is that? That's an amazing track record. What is it, do you think, that you're doing that makes that a reality?
Well, we have a creative youth development approach that starts, it's over 10 years. So the students start with us as early as 3rd grade. And it's based in a modern dance approach that is focused on innovation, communication, and creativity that we believe are essential for 21st century skill building for children and young adults. And so because the students are with us for 10 years, it's a curriculum that's built upon each other that also offers them project-based learning and ways to really use those skills both in the wooden floor, also in their own lives, academically, and also in their homes. And so it's a holistic program that really looks at the student holistically. And so what happens is that what we really try to do is, it's not about dance as a dance step. It's how to really use arts as a transformative and powerful medium to really find children to propel them forward.
All right, wonderful. And you did mention parents. So is that a big key predictor as well of success, is that you've engaged the parents?
So yes, so we have parent workshops and family workshops with the students because most 98% of our students are low or extremely low income for Orange County.
Okay.
Typical family of 5 is about $39,000 a year. And so it's really important for us not to create an educational gap between the student and the family. They're all, or most, are first generation to go to college, like maybe some that are listening here on our call. I also mentor in the College of Business at Cal State Long Beach, and most of the students I mentor are first generation students, and like Wood and Florey students, they don't know how to, I say it's not a lack of love, it's a lack of knowledge. The parents don't know always how to navigate their student into college, and that's what our goal is, to help them navigate that. And then also for the parents is we provide them also that social emotional support as well, and help them navigate, especially with COVID right now. We're really helping those families deal with isolation and helping them make sure that they are helping their children.
All right, great. Thank you for sharing more of that. Nelson, one of the things that struck me right away that you said is you have no skills, which means you have amazing humility, right? And humility is such an important characteristic for all three of you. Obviously, you all have it because you've been so successful, and here you are taking your time with all of us. And as you kind of mentioned that, Nelson, I thought it would be wise to learn a little bit more about how kind of your approach to all this change. Like, you named a number of things that you've had to pivot, whether it was the way you went to Cal State Long Beach, or you know, being in the shoe sales, and then all the different positions you've had that you've said yes to. What are some of those key success strategies that you've employed to really have this longevity? You know, it's really remarkable.
No, I'm odd, I get it. But as I tell people, I love what I do.
You love what you do.
I love what I do. And so why not do this for as long as I can? They haven't thrown me out. So something's still working. Right? But I would tell college kids today, find what it is that lights you up, and you'll find your way, and commit to it. And how do we put up with change? Life ain't fair, and you just have to deal with it. And if you let it drag you down, you can get overwhelmed. Like the negativity today, if you spend time there, it'll send you into the street, and you know, figuratively. And it's like you have to adapt and realize that you just get up every day and do your best, and tell yourself. If you watched The Last Dance with Michael Jordan, anybody
Love it.
that, and you talk about the team and the commitment. And what I learned when I come up here, being kind of a undisciplined Southern California kid, is that the place believed in what we were doing. And then once you believe in the mission, the reason that you exist, you believe it and you understand it, and then you commit to it, then you recognize you can throw anything at me.
Yes.
I'm going to learn how to deal with it because I'm saving the company, you know.
Right.
We can't let this go down. We have to deal with whatever it is. And we're going to be 50 years old. That's why I'm in awe, Kurt, or 100 years. I hope we're here in 100 years. But we're close to 50. And the reason is that we've been consistent to stay true to what we are. We're an athletic sports company. We make athletic product for people. Our mission statement says we have one sentence: to bring inspiration and innovation to every athlete in the world. And the asterisk by athlete, it says, if you have a body, you're an athlete. So we just opened up our arms to 7 billion people because we think we can help through fitness, through team activity, through learning how to compete. Like you talk about your kids in the dance studio, they're learning the same thing in their own way, right?
I was about to say that.
Yes, and because what are they? They're social. They're helping them solve their own problems. If somebody coaches somebody else, somebody gets angry, they solve their own problems, and all that comes from sport. And that's what motivates me is, sport is one of the most galvanizers around the world. We can go anywhere in the world and I have a common language. It's
Right.
sport. Your
Right.
team, and I don't care what it is, your team or your athlete, and we can dialogue right away. And if we can dialogue about sport, guess what? We can talk about other things because we have a common.
That's so true.
So that's,
Yeah.
that's why I'm here. I mean, I think what we do is hopeful.
Uh-huh.
And the COVID virus thing just exposed how much people want to be active. Because if you've been watching the sale of in-house bicycles, workout bikes, it's just escalated because people go, I'm tired of sitting around. I better get activity. And they have, and it's been nuts.
Yes.
That's our customer.
That's wonderful. Well, if anyone hasn't watched The Last Dance, I believe it's on Netflix. It's an amazing story about Michael Jordan and the Bulls, but it also ties in the whole relationship with Michael Jordan from the early years and Nike. So I'd highly recommend it. Obviously, you're a great person to be leading education. I share with you as well, Karl, that college athlete experience. I played basketball in a 4-year scholarship at Long Beach State. Loved it. I ended up running the Bill Cartwright basketball clinic out here in Chicago for 4 years. I basically approached him in one of his restaurants and said, I need a namesake. I was on the board for the Boys and Girls Club. So we all share so many things that we love that tie to children and sports and education and development. And Karl, I want to go back to, your scholarship. You had a scholarship in football, San Luis Obispo, and you were sharing so much about your story and everything. Can you share with us a little bit about maybe how that really propelled you in life, and then how you really kind of define CD driver as getting to this gold standard, your goal of being the gold standard?
Yeah, as Nelson said, I think for me, a lot of team sports really applies to our businesses that we run. And I had the opportunity of playing football, basketball, and track in high school, and then having a number of possibilities of where I could go. And I selected Cal Poly as that one because it had a great engineering program at the time. And so that really, my focus was, I knew I wanted to be a builder. My father was a builder doing nuclear power plants and large projects. And it had been kind of in the blood for us. And so, I have a lot of team analogies when we're struggling, how we have to pull together. And I look at myself as really the coach of a lot of different athletes and trying to find how you can get the best out of everyone. Right. And everyone's different in here. And so I really, my time in the sports, of which I played basketball all the way up, I had a pretty good shot into my 50s. But now, Nelson, I'm on one of those bikes that you talked about, doing low impact. But every day is part of my ritual, and the way I can clear my head and address the challenges of the day is through exercise, both physical and mental, what I do. Part of the gold standard that you talked about, Kimberly, was how do we as a company do the things that we can, one, differentiate ourselves from our competition, which is very big because a lot of people can say they're builders. But what do we do differently that creates a level of expertise that we can really leverage? And that's part of the things we do internally, how we train ourselves, how we execute as an athlete, so that we're performing at a high peak in every encounter. And it's also the alignment of our people with the teams and the product that they're building, right? And so it is very important that we select our teams for the jobs that they're going to be doing, that they're experts in. And that's how we have been successful really over many years. We're in the people business, but we just build buildings.
Yes, yes, but it's really about your leadership and the teamwork. That's wonderful. So I want to kind of move into some other questions. So Dawn, why this work? Why this work? How did you go from the business sector to the not-for-profit sector? What was kind of some real pivotal moments for you that made that happen? And then how did you seed it all, right? How did you fund this?
So, well, I'm not the founder of my organization, so let me start there. Organization is 37 years old, so I've been there 12 years, the last 12 years. So
Right.
I've been building on its success, but let me talk about just kind of the beginning. I think a lot of people, they don't really see nonprofits as businesses, you know, they're the same as any other organization. I think it's just that we have all the fundamentals of true business. The passion and purpose alignment is obviously sometimes a little stronger, but you heard from Nelson that he has passion and purpose for his shoes, and so does Karl in his work. You know, passion and purpose needs to be aligned to whatever we do.
Right.
But sometimes you hear it more in the nonprofit sector than other businesses, unfortunately. But I believe in any business, values, mission, and vision align with anything you should do. And so when I believe in the nonprofit sector that we're social innovators. That's what I believe at the Wooden Floor. So we really lead by design thinking at the Wooden Floor. That's our differentiator. We're constantly innovating, piloting, evaluating, testing. So an example during COVID, when everyone had to rush out of the doors and go into a virtual environment, we were not, we pivoted fairly quickly because we do that consistently throughout the organization year round, not just in that moment. And we have the technology infrastructure in place because we invest in it, and our organization does, and our board. And we also hold true to our values of excellence. Like Karl said, we believe that we provide the best to our students and they rise to the best. Our students deserve the best. And so that work and that passion for mission aligns to my own value of leadership and success. I want to provide the best for my staff, my best for my team, but it starts with the best for the students and the families we serve. I look at it as an honor and privilege that I get to work at the Wooden Floor every day. I get to work. It's not a got to work. I have a leader, an executive coach, and he says the day you say you've got to do something is the day you know you need to walk out of whatever you're doing. And so for me, I've been there 12 years. I walk in the door every morning like it's the first day that I walk to work and walk into the office. And so I know I'm in the right place, matching to my passion, my purpose, and what do I want to accomplish. And I believe you can find that both in nonprofit and business. A lot of people know my story of transitioning from for-profit to nonprofit, and they come to me and ask, should I make the switch? And I often tell them that you need to ask yourself why you want to make the switch. It's very different the way we lead and manage and build consensus and make decisions in the nonprofit sector. And sometimes those personality traits don't always transition effectively. And so, but I love the sector, and I highly encourage, but I look at us today as social innovators.
Social innovators. Oh, great, wonderful. So Nelson, I want to ask you a little bit about what you think is in store for or what you know is in store for the future of Nike. So I've got kind of a two-part question. What can we look forward to in the future? But then second, I want to know, after 45 years, what makes you be excited to go to work every day?
Yeah, I'll talk about the second question first, and that is I'm excited because I see the results of what good people can do. Like Kirk was talking about teams, you know, we're teams of teams. Mm-hmm. And one of the big lessons I got from day one around here was get your big fat ego out of the way And when you sit down to have a conversation, and you might be the smartest guy in a room, but you got to work with other people to get things done.
Mhm.
And so the team of teams has accomplished remarkable things, especially in the beginning when nobody knew exactly what they were doing.
Right.
And as part of the team, I mean, Cal Poly with Broncos, right? I mean, they have a good sports program. Well, you go on the court, on the field, they know you come with some pedigree, but you got to learn their system. And you got to meet all these new players on the team. So you have to adapt right away with a bunch of new people.
Right.
We would have that happen all the time. Here's the guy in charge. Who is he? I don't know. She's in charge. What's her name? I don't know. And we would throw people together and we would adapt. And I think that the fact that we were getting measurable results, our product was good. It was worn by athletes. It was written up as quality stuff, and it
Right.
fit into our mission. You know, our mission to bring inspiration, innovation to every athlete in the world. So really, what that means is that, and I realize this, is we're servants. We are here to serve. And I mean not just our customers, but our fellow employees. So this mindset is, what can I do for you? And then I do it, and it's, what else can I do for you? You know, that, and you get that in your head, and you're always trying to help, and you're always trying to get better, and
Right.
you're always trying to collaborate. You're always trying to work together. And if you do that, I may have gotten off your sentence, what you
Oh,
asked.
I love it. Well, I love it.
I'm on this path now. Don't stop me now.
It's wonderful. It's wonderful. I want to toss the ball over to Karl, because Karl, I want to talk about, what does CD Driver do to maybe kind of impact the communities around you, right? What are some ways that you engage and, make a difference in that sense?
Yeah, the purpose of our business is to build better communities and lives together. That's our purpose that we have as part of CW Driver. So how that breaks down is that the way that we impact our communities is that we build. And the type of things that we build, over 50% of it is higher education, community college, and K through 12. So we're building classrooms that are educating young minds. We're building science and engineering buildings that are solving complex equations and that type of thing. We're building health. We're building senior citizen retirement homes to care for our elderlies. We're building music halls so that we can create additional arts and performances. And I think that is the way that we build our communities. And then paired with that, we are helping people build their lives back. And we are involved in major community service and service hours in our organization that we encourage our employees to give back to the communities and the passion that they feel. For our 100th anniversary, we were able to give back over 10,000 community hours to multiple organizations in California. And that's how we impact our social needs. And so by building better communities and lives together, that is exactly how we impact the world around us.
That's wonderful. Does anyone have anything they want to add to that from that vein about community engagement?
Yeah, I'll throw this in there
Yeah.
because if you don't mind, Don, I'm speaking now. Because we work with athletes from all over the world, we deal with every culture, every color of skin, every religion you can imagine. And we hear the problems of the world big time. So we try to help. We try to do the right thing in every culture we're involved with. And here in the United States, we make a huge commitment to get out to vote. And we have our athletes all over the United States working on groups and committees to get people to vote. And we can do that because we have these links and it's important. And we understand our responsibility. We don't just sell stuff and make money. We are like Kirk, we're part of the fabric of society. And we need to be 100% engaged, and we are. So every employee has time off to get to vote no matter what. Everybody, all across the United States, around the world. And whether you're voting, go do it. And we're trying to encourage other businesses to do the same thing.
Right, great. So Dawn, go ahead.
I was just going to add that I think we have a very vibrant corporate, philanthropic and volunteer community within Southern California. And we see it every day within Orange County where we are. And we're just very fortunate to have so much philanthropy and volunteerism within corporations in the sector. And we're a benefit of that in the wooden floor. And we're just very grateful. And I think the whole sector, I'm on several boards myself, both for 10C and other charitable nonprofit boards myself and foundation boards. And I see it every day how other corporations, family foundations, individuals are stepping up constantly to ask how they can help. And that's just really great to see.
All right, wonderful. So I want to ask you, all of you, how did Cal State Long Beach kind of play a role in your journey, or how does it enhance your journey today? Because it is Founders Week. And, you know, Karl, would you like to kind of jump in there, or?
Yeah, sure. I mean, when I look back at what Cal State did for me, the first thing as a student, it connected me with classmates that today are successful entrepreneurs and actually clients of mine.
Right.
Not only are they clients, but they're actually my competition in the building industry, and they're great employees that work for me. And so this connection with Cal State provides that. So when you're going to school, stay connected to those people that are around you, because you could be working for them or they could be working for you in the future.
Right.
It also allowed me to gain real experience at my time there. I was able to work during the day, and classes in my department were held in the evenings. So all of us would be on the job site at 5 in the morning, and we'd be running in there at 6 at night and studying till 10 at night. So it created a work ethic that you needed to get through in this business, but it also gave you the ability to go out, get a job, support your family, which I had at the time, and make things meet. And then full circle, it has allowed me today to be part of the Dean's Advisory Board in engineering and do these type of things to give back to the school that was able to provide my education in my future.
That's fabulous. Great. Thank you. Nelson?
Yeah, so remember, I'm a little older than everybody on this site.
I don't think we were born yet.
No, you weren't. But it's, you know, Kurt went to college as I thought it would be. I went to college in the 60s. I moved out of my house when I was 19, never went back. And I joined a fraternity. I moved into the fraternity house, which was on Ocean Boulevard, right across from the Pacific Ocean. If you
Oh, that sounds beautiful.
And for $75 a month, room, board, and dues. I had part-time jobs all through school at $2 an hour, on a good day, $2.50. But back then, that much money could pay the bills.
Yeah.
And that's sad because today kids, they can't do it. So like Kirk, my lessons came from the social part of going to college, leaving home for the first time, no parental oversight, up to me 100% on everything that I did. And the fraternity was, I have 30 friends today that I've been friends with for 50 years. We get together once a year, 30.
Amazing. From the fraternity.
Nuts, right? But at that time, I was learning about the lessons that I did not see until I went to work for Nike, how to work with people. We'd enter spring sing, we'd practice, we'd win sweepstakes. We'd enter 49er days, of homecoming, we'd build a float, we'd win sleep. I was learning how to compete, and I didn't realize it until later. But working with people, everybody bringing their unique experience to the table. The professors at that time were highly interactive with us, so we had a great on-hands mentoring, which was fantastic. And the administration of the school knew that at that time, the Greek system was supplying all the kids that are going to run for office and be student body. So we had this, the three-piece, the three-headed, not a snake, but a three-headed personality that came together and helped produce me to go out. And I kind of kid about I had no skills. I had more skills than I thought because I learned it. I learned it by doing things that I never done before.
And you were willing to say yes to the opportunities. I hear that from all three of you, because you said yes and nothing stopped you. You just kept pivoting, right? And had an open mind about what you could do.
And you learn about failure too. So we'd make mistakes and then we recognize it wasn't the end of the world. And the question that would come, would you learn from it?
Right.
And then that same thing showed up when I went to Nike. But the school taught me things I really didn't understand until later in life. Thank you.
Right. Cal State University Long Beach is just such a wonderful education. Dawn, what were some of the pearls for you from your experience
Well,
with Cal State Long
similar
Beach?
to Nelson, my dad went to college, but he went to a liberal arts college and he wanted to get in and out in 3 years. And so I kind of was a first gen student, and that way I moved away from college, went here from Northern Cal. And so I went for the first 2 years and hardly knew a soul. And so I was a junior and pledged a sorority as a junior. And within 6 months, I was elected president. And wow, that was a big life lesson. But I swear I say that's pivotal, because I don't know if I would be who I am today if it wasn't from that incredible opportunity of leading a team, like Karl said.
Right.
Learning, I had an executive team, delegating, motivating, all those building blocks of leadership. We had 75 members, learning about myself, how to overcome challenges. And those were all building blocks of my leadership. And for me, it's turned into lifelong friendships, because Long Beach is in, a commuter school and still is today. Most of our families still lived in Southern California, and my friends have all stayed in Southern California. So I see my friends once a month for bunko.
That's nice.
and now Zoom, we have a couple of friends back east.
Bunko on Zoom.
Yeah, we see each other all the time. And so we share, births and deaths and weddings, and now children are getting married, and it's just wonderful, But I have to say, I'm actually part of Cal State Fullerton's Center for Leadership on their advisory board. And I'm also, like I said earlier, the Student Center for Professional Development today. And I took a break of, volunteering at Cal State Long Beach, but I've been involved with the business school since 2011, and I've had now 10 mentees through this. And I would highly encourage, if there's anybody here that would like to have a mentee, they always need mentees with the College of Business. And they're just incredible young people that are really energized by just really wanting to have a better life for themselves, and they really take the program seriously.
Great, thank you. So Karl, I have a question for you. With all of your experience, as you look back to kind of your younger self, and you think about all the young people that are maybe right out of college listening today, or maybe just 5 years out of college, and then of course they've had this hiatus with the pandemic and things. What kind of advice would you give people listening today that you've now looked back and say, these were the right things?
It's I think two pieces of that, and Nelson alluded to it in what he said. It's about, don't be afraid to make mistakes and fail. Okay, it's about failing early, fail often, but always fail forward, meaning make sure that you leverage your mistakes. And I did a lot of that, right? And asking a lot of questions, but that's how you learn. And if you're not doing that, or you're afraid to do that, that will inhibit you from really meeting your expectations that you could do. And the other thing is also cultivate your social skills, meaning, understand, listen to people, be interesting, remember their stories, don't be negative. Those type of things, when you come up and you want to be in leadership, you have got to know how to communicate with the people around you and know the buttons to push and things to say that inspire people, that give people hope, and then at the same time, have a connection with people. Always look for that common thread of how you can be connected with the person you're talking with or the person you're doing business with, because at the end of the day, that creates trust. Trust creates culture in your organization. And I think that's a very important formula for my success and the success for our company.
That's wonderful. Well, I want to thank all of you for joining us on this panel, and I want to toss the ball back to Cynthia so that she can kind of, summarize and wrap up. I really enjoyed very much myself hearing all your stories live. I know that everybody else who's watching has as well. Cynthia, it's all yours.
All right. Well, thank you so much. I just want to extend my thanks again to our moderator, Kimberly, and of course to all of our panelists. That was fascinating. I really enjoyed hearing more about your journey and of course how the beach impacted all of you and your professional journey and accomplishments as well. So thank you so much to the entire panel. For our guests, you're welcome to visit our website listed on the screen now for more Founders Week activities throughout the week. As CSULB turns 71 and as we continue to celebrate the history of the institution and of course the accomplishments of all our alumni. So thank you again to everyone, our panelists, our audience. Have a great evening. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's been a